All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Movie Talks and Chill. We're your hosts. I'm Tony Serrano.
And I'm Patrick Wall.
Yes.
I almost said Gavin Butts.
He usually goes up second. Gavin is not able to be with us this week. We were trying to have someone fill in last minute. That didn't happen. So you just got me and Patrick this time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So anyway,
not sponsored, but I need my energy.
Yeah. So you get two of us today, and this week we are going to be discussing. Well, first of all, we are now officially in the holiday season,
Yes.
and we want to wait a couple weeks before we actually talk about Christmas movies themselves and the titling.
And we have something special.
Oh, yay! I'm really excited about it.
I think it's a neat idea.
No, it is. It's good.
The only problem is we have to watch those terrible movies.
Yes. It's going to be terrible movie Christmas week.
Yeah.
But that's not for a couple weeks. So until then, though, we just want to still kind of come up with topics. And there are a couple of Christmas ones that are in the subject matter. So we can bring it up.
And I know I've watched them, but the plot and everything is a little bit hazy. So I'll let you take those.
I'll walk you through it. So this week, what we are talking about is National Lampoon's movies.
Yes.
National Lampoon has been around for a very long time, since the 70s.
Yeah.
It started out originally, for those of you who don't know, it was originally I think it was like a newspaper ad in like a small little magazine for a college. And it was Doug Kinney and Henry Baird, I believe, were the two classmates. And they were like working on it, doing it. They graduated, didn't really have any full-on, or I think Doug Kinney didn't really have a full-on direction as to what he was going to do with the rest of his life. But he really enjoyed doing the magazine. So he said, well, let's keep doing it. And so they ended up figuring out a way to get themselves published, by a distributor. I don't know the terminology for magazines, but they got someone to distribute and create the magazine for them. They made the content, so it became very similar to The Onion, which those of you who are not familiar, are you familiar with The Onion?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
Although I haven't seen the Onion movie.
No, you need to see that one. So that'll be.
I used to read that website all the time, though.
But it's very similar to that, where they do very, kind of racy things or push the envelope a little bit. It's not a very PC.
It's like movie
thing.
43.
Yes.
So which I found hilarious.
After they did that, they became a radio. They did the National Lampoon Radio Hour, and that's actually where some of the big players, big people that everybody knows of, like your Gilda Radner, Chevy Chase, John Belushi, a lot of them started doing that, even before they got to SNL.
Gotcha.
So
that's what got them onto SNL.
I don't know if it might have because they were in the community of comedy, so it was just a radio hour for them to do this random comedy bits, just have fun with it. And then they got into movies. Doug Kinney decided he wanted to get into film, so he wrote Animal House. So that'll kind of kick it off. So
yeah, that was their first one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the first one he did. I think they did a couple shorts before then, or like small things. I can't remember the exact names of them. So he got into that, but that was like his big breakout, and it was a huge box office success. So now that we've gotten to the movie portion of it...
It's really weird when you give a movie with boobs, drugs, and alcohol, everybody loves it.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? It's got everything.
Right. Boobs, drugs, and alcohol.
Yeah. It's gold, Jerry. It's gold. It's like Oscar nomination style right there.
It's a masterpiece of cinema.
It's a triumph of cinema. So yeah, they kicked off. So now we're into the movie portion of it. Just want to give you guys a quick little background as to where it came from.
Yeah, I did not know about that. But fun fact, I think that's how The Simpsons started too. It was like a little comic strip that ballooned into television shows.
I think actually it was also a quick little commercial ad.
From like not Mad TV.
It might have been. It might have been Mad TV.
No, because Mad TV didn't start until the 90s. And Simpsons started in 85.
Okay.
So maybe it was, I know it was on one of those sketch
maybe
comedy
in Living
shows.
Color?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Like, that was my other guess.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It came from somewhere. I don't believe it was SNL, but...
No, I don't think so. The greatest cartoon ever, the ambiguously gay duo, started on SNL.
Yes, it
but
did.
They dropped it like a decade ago.
Yes, they did.
Bastards. Cowards.
Sons
Bring
of
me
bitches.
back my ambiguously gay duo.
I have a friend of mine that I've known since third grade. We still keep in contact, and we used to watch that all the time, and he still to this day claims that Robert Smigel stole his penis car idea. Because he was like, as a kid, sometimes you just got to draw penis. And he did, and he drew it into a car.
Wasn't that like a thing in the movie Superbad where Jonah Hill had a condition where he would just draw dicks on everything?
Yeah. Yep. He draws dicks. He draws dicks. So for TJ Wakel, good friend of mine, if you listen to this, I'm giving you a shout out in defense that you were the inventor of the
penis
car.
car.
Yeah.
They also have like a penis plane at some point.
Yeah. Everything was penis.
So not really a whole lot of ambiguity going on with that.
So anyway, we're Animal House, kick it off. Animal House is just, I think you explained it into 3 terms. It's drugs, alcohol, and booze and boobs.
Yeah.
That's really all the movie is. But
isn't the famous line that fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life? Son?
Yes. Fat, drunk, and stupid. Yeah. But a lot of really good characters in there. So they're a frat house. I think it was the Delta House, if I remember correctly, was their frat house. And
I think it was in college when I saw it.
And it's the
unfortunately, I realized today I started college 20 years ago this year. That upset me.
Yeah,
like a lot.
I'm sad now.
Yeah. No, I'm over it. But yesterday when I realized it, I wanted to cry.
It took all day.
Yeah.
I got through it. I locked myself in the room.
Yeah, I was a freshman in 2003 in college.
Okay. But yeah, so it's freshmen coming into college and they want to join a fraternity. So they try to the other ones and they kind of get booted out. The bougie ones and the richie kid ones and the jocks and stuff. And then they end up remembering that the one guy who's Flounder, the fat dude. I can't remember his name. He was in movies in the 80s. He's not so much around that much anymore. Not that he's dead, but his brother was a legacy. So he's like, oh, they got to take us. So they end up getting in, but it's really all they do is they just party and destroy stuff. And they're just literally a motley crew of people. I mean, you've got like the kind of the more preppy, level-headed guy. You've got the John Belushi character who basically is just a nut. And then, then you have your biker guy, and then, the other guys who are kind of smooth talkers, and the ladies' man, and the guy with the girlfriend, and just a really fun movie. And the whole thing is they're about to get, kicked out of the college, or at least out of the chapter. The chapter's going to.
They're about to revoke their membership or something like that.
Yeah, so because they had the lowest GPA in the entire school, or I think in the history of that school, if I remember correctly. So their way of getting around it is they decide they're going to get into the parade at the end and wreak havoc. So they turn their car into one of the floats, and they just end up wreaking havoc on the whole thing. And
Kevin Bacon was in that movie?
Yeah, he was one of the ROTC guys, or I don't know if they called it that in there, but it was
Reverend Chip Dillard. That's what they called him. REV. Really? Yeah.
Huh. But yeah, I know he was one of the military guys.
Okay.
Or the
Must
ROTC
have been
things.
chaplain or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, a lot of people's in it. Donald Sutherland's in it. He plays one of the professors.
Okay.
He's like the pot-smoking professor that invites him over to his house and just gets him high.
I didn't have any professors like that in college.
So, I don't believe the next movie was... So Doug Kinney, after the success of that, he decided he was going to do... another one, because in this one, if I also remember, I think Harold Ramis
start going. What's your favorite? Is it going to be Animal House?
It's up there. I would say it's probably it's got to be number one. It's hard because there is the Christmas one that's well famous, and that's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Mm-hmm. It's such an iconic movie, and we'll get to that a little bit later, and also we'll probably revisit it too around Christmas time. I don't know. It's so hard because National Lampoon, and just so everybody knows, also another history about it is not every movie titled National Lampoon is actually property of National Lampoon. So there are movies and it's a lot of the newer ones when you see the made-for-TV or the smaller end ones.
Gotcha. Or the ones that are just one step below porn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also ones that are maybe produced in other countries. They buy the one-time right to use the title National Lampoon to help them get distribution in America. That's what I've read. Okay. I'm not fully 100% on the whole story on it, but I do know that. So just because it says National Lampoons, everybody, it doesn't always mean it was made by the actual official National Lampoon.
Gotcha. Not every Chevy Chase movie is National Lampoon, but every National Lampoon with Chevy Chase is an authentic National Lampoon movie.
Yes. But what about you? What's your...
I'd have to go with Vegas Vacation. I know it was not the most well received, but Sorry, Mom, to tell you this, but my dad took me to see that in theaters in 1997 because
Okay.
he was a big fan. I was 12,
Okay.
and I think it is rated R, or at least is it R?
It might be.
PG-13, something like that. And 12-year-old me thought that was like the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It was right up there with Analyze That.
Yeah, the Eddie's daughter is a stripper.
Yeah.
Real quick quiz question. What was so Rusty has to get a fake ID or pretend so he can gamble.
Yeah, then what is
Do you
his
remember
name?
the name that he goes by?
It's
Or
Indian,
at least the
isn't
last
it?
name.
It's Indian, isn't it?
No.
Oh, I cannot remember.
Well, it might be. Well, I think it sounds more Greek.
Oh, okay.
You remember?
Oh, Stapopoulos?
Close.
Oh, okay.
Papadopoulos.
Papadopoulos. Yes. Okay, that's
Mr.
Greek.
Papadopoulos.
Yes.
And he always went, and he kept winning.
Yeah, he
winning
had
all the
like
cars
4
and stuff.
cars by the like they're stranded in the middle of the desert, and he's like, "Well, how do we get home?" He's like, "Dad, those 4 cars over there, they're mine." Like, all right, so
Put
they
a
all
dollar
just
machine
speed
on
away
it.
in Porsches.
Yeah, I think one was a Hummer.
Yeah.
One was like like
like
a
the brand new
Ferrari or
H2,
something.
like Hummer paid for part of that movie.
Yeah. So yeah, no, those are good, but I think, and also going back originally to Animal House, one of the writers was Harold Ramis.
Oh,
So Harold Ramis kind of got his start, and that's why Harold Ramis got into directing Caddyshack. Caddyshack was not an official. I don't believe it was created officially by National Lampoon, but it was Doug Kinney's second attempt at doing a movie. And
he hit it out of the park.
actually, so Caddyshack did very well, but it didn't do as well when it first came out. And there was another movie, I don't remember what it was exactly, they were kind of competing with or they were going against. Or, I mean, not competing, but it happened to come out around the same time. So Caddyshack didn't get all the luster that it should have, but it since has become like cult classic type movie. But Harold Ramis directed that because Doug Kinney had worked with him on writing Animal House.
Hold on, I'm looking at movies from July 1980 to see what it was in competing with.
Okay.
So please continue.
Okay, so we'll go down this. So the original company created National Lampoon's Class Reunion in '82, National Lampoon's Movie Madness, which is, I believe that one's just kind of like a group of like 3 or 4 short stories in one, if I remember correctly. Then they did, obviously in '83, kicks it off with National Lampoon's Vacation.
And I remember them all trying to get to Wally World,
Yep.
and them. John Candy was a security guard that they like basically kidnap and
Yep.
force him on all the rides, right?
Yep.
The only thing I remember is the ending when they get to Wally World and it's closed, and they basically kidnap John Candy.
Yep. He had the BB gun.
Yeah,
Went
but he
above
didn't know that until like the very end when he shoots him in the butt.
He's like that thing's not real. He's like this can hurt you. It's like this can give a very bad infection. It can pierce the skin. They take him on the roller coaster and they're going up in the roller coaster. It's like, Clark, may I call you? Or Rusty's sitting next to the son. He's like, Russ, may I call you Rusty? He's like, I have a confession to make. I may throw up.
So, real quick, going back to the movies Caddyshack was going up against, the only movie on this list that I can think of that may have pulled viewers away is Cheech and Chong. Cheech and Chong's next movie.
I don't think that was it though. It didn't sound familiar. Like, and the reason why I know part of this story is also they made a movie about Doug Kinney and Henry Baird and starting National Lampoon, and it was a movie called A Stupid and Futile Gesture, which is actually very good. It's actually the story about them.
Yeah,
and
like a biopic.
Yeah, and it's loosely based because Doug Kinney ended up dying. He died very young.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he was always on a massive
Coke
drug
binges.
binge and stuff. And
well, you don't come up with movies like Animal House sober, and not just on alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah, he did that, but he was doing a lot of according to the movie, Stupid and Futile Gesture. This is not me saying that it's true, but according to the movie, he was doing a lot with Chevy Chase. Like
that sounds
Chevy
about
Chase,
right.
Yeah.
From what I understand, he didn't eat. He just did cocaine back then.
Yeah, probably. Well, he was even Chevy Chase, if you go back and watch his original Saturday Night Live stuff, because he was only on there for the first year, beginning of the second year. And then
That's when
he
Lorne
left.
Michaels left.
Yeah. And he left.
Then he came back 3 years later to save the show.
Well, he started getting big movie deals. Chevy Chase did, because he's the one who was the original Weekend Update guy. He created Weekend Update. And but he would always do that real physical type humor. So he was the one who introduced at the beginning of each episode. It was always him,
Gotcha.
like doing something and getting in some big accident or a big fall. Then he'd pop up and live from New York. It's Saturday Night Live, So yeah. Anyway,
he may have started a Weekend Update, but Dan Aykroyd perfected it.
Oh, that's right. He did do with Jane Curtin for a while.
Yeah, and there's one where they go back and forth about like an actress and an actor. They were like sleeping. They were living together for a long time, and then they broke up. But since they were never married, the actor didn't want to give up like half of his stuff, and the girl's like, "No, we've done all this stuff together for years, so like I deserve some of it." So they did an argument based off of that. If you haven't watched it, look up Dan Aykroyd Weekend Update. It'll probably be the first video that comes up. It is the funniest thing in the world, and they got away with a lot of shit in the '80s on television.
Isn't that when he calls her a slut?
Yeah,
Yeah. At like the end, he's like, "Jane, you miserable slut," or something like that.
Yeah, something like. It's not even at the end. I think that's when he gets to do his part. You miserable slut.
But yeah, I'd say officially, aside from Animal House, once National Lampoon Vacation came out, that's really when also they
And
started
that's when
getting
Chevy
real...
Chase signed like a 20-year deal.
Yeah, basically is what happened. Because he did the one that I'm not a fan of. I mean, I watch it because it's part of it. It's that European Vacation.
I've never seen that one.
It's in 1985. It's not really good at all. I mean,
don't get me wrong. A lot of these movies are good, but a giant chunk of them are very bad.
it's got a couple funny. Let me rephrase. It's got some funny parts to it. But like Audrey, she's dating her boyfriend in the movie is the Zach or something. Zap, the guy that plays Johnny in Karate Kid, the bad guy.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
So those of you who watch Cobra Kai, that guy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he was, because that's in the height of the '80s. It was '85. He had
Billy
done Karate
Zabka.
Kid. Yeah, that's him. And he plays a boyfriend. Well, they end up going on this European vacation. They win this trip because they played on this game show. I think it was called like a Pig and a Poke or something like that. It was stupid. They all dressed up as pigs. It's really stupid. And they
I just realized there is a very deep cut reference in the show Supernatural to National. If that's the name, Pig and a Poke, there's a very deep cut reference in that show.
if I remember correctly, I do know they had dressed up as pigs. It's pig and something.
Okay.
So they end up winning the big prize, which is European vacation. But she's over there. Audrey's over there, and I think they end up in Germany at one point. Jack is her boyfriend's name in the movie, his character name. And she picks up this big sausage on her fork as kielbasa. Like, God, I miss Jack. It's like, it's little things like that are funny, but overall, not a good National Lampoon movie. No. Luckily, they saved it later with Christmas Vacation, and then like
They did
Vegas
a sequel
Vacation.
to that, didn't they?
Which one?
Christmas Vacation?
Yeah, that was starring Randy Quaid.
Oh, okay.
It's like Christmas Vacation 2, like cousin Eddie's Paradise or something like that.
It's good.
But they also, they did quite a few others. So, and I remember in school, one of my favorites while I was in high school, me and my buddies went to see it in the theater. It's called National Lampoon's Senior Trip.
Okay.
And it's just what it is. It's, their senior trip. I couldn't even tell you what the plot of it is anymore. It's been so long. I said I watched it in high school, and I think it was my junior year of high school, so I was 16. I am now 45, so it's almost 30 years ago. So I couldn't tell you the plot, and I have not seen the movie since. I just remember when we saw the commercials as 16-year-olds, you're like, oh, that's awesome. So we saw it. We thought it was awesome. Apparently, it wasn't that awesome because I did not watch it again. Or I haven't seen it in a long time. But I'll have to kind of search for it, see if I can find it.
It's not on my list. I will say there is a movie on this list that I haven't seen, but it does seem really interesting. It's like a National Lampoon's version of Weird Science called National Lampoon's Ripley Kate. So
Okay.
we were talking about this before we started the episode. It stars James Roday, and if you don't know who he is, there's a fantastic show on USA, or at least there was, called Psych. He's the star of that show.
Oh, is that him? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he's really young because this movie came out in 2002, and I think Psych didn't start until 2006, 2007.
Yeah,
so
something like that.
Yeah, so he's a little bit younger in this movie. But basically, apparently James Roday figures out how to clone people, and he clones like the hot news reporter that he met like a week or so ago, and then like he basically programs her to fulfill all of his manly desires. And then apparently his best friend convinces him that that's wrong and it's not as good as the real thing, which I guess is true. but I had to watch the movie to find out. But it stars somebody called Allie Landry, and I'm looking at all of her photos, and I swear to God, I've seen her and stuff, but I've looked at all of her filmography. I've not seen a damn thing. So I do not know where I know this girl.
What's some of her filmography? Have I seen any?
One of them is called Who's Your Daddy? And it's not made by National Lampoons. I don't think you may have seen anything, but if somebody in the comments, please let me know if she's uncredited somewhere that I would know her from.
Yeah, let's see. What do we got here?
So she's in a TV show, Kevin Can't Wait. I haven't had cable since 20.
Oh, and I do know that. That was Kevin James.
Yeah. But she had one guest appearance in 2018. Character named Lisa.
Okay. Probably didn't see that.
No. She was in Criminal Minds in 2008.
Okay.
One episode, once again, Kaylee Robinson. I've watched that show like 3 times. It's a great show. But
yeah.
One character out of like the Law and Order version. Like, it's been going on for 2 decades at this point.
Although you would like it in the later seasons because Nicholas Brendan, who played Xander in Buffy, he has a major role in that later on.
Well, he is. I think I stopped watching. He was dating the IT girl, and he was in episodes here and there, but he wasn't like really like a full-on cast member.
No, he became like in one of the seasons pretty heavy in for a while, but then he kind of just they fizzled him out again.
A movie called At a Time, never heard of it. Who's Your Daddy in 2002.
Yep.
Fastlane, Eve.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Felicity, 1 episode.
Yeah, no, I didn't really watch Felicity.
2 Guys, a Girl, in a Pizza Place.
Okay.
She's
Ryan
a
Reynolds.
girl in the laundromat. That's her character name.
Okay. All right, so I think, we haven't seen her. I haven't seen her, at least.
She looks... I will say she is almost exactly like Cordelia from Buffy.
Okay.
Almost exactly like her.
So, in this thing, so before Senior Trip came out, I know I said that one came out, but there was one that came out before that, and that actually kind of re-sparked my interest, because after Christmas Vacation came out, I believe that was 89, I think. Yeah, 89.
It's this list somewhere.
So in 93, they did a brilliant movie. Well, I think it was brilliant because I just think it's funny, and I like the original movie, and it does make a lot of good fun of the movie. And it was based off Lethal Weapon.
Oh, wait. Is it called Robo-Duck? No, that's based
No. This one's called Loaded Weapon 1. They just thought they were going to make a sequel. I don't think they ever did. It was kind of like what they did with Hot Shots for Top Gun. But
a buddy of mine thinks this is one of the funniest movies ever, and he gave me the DVD to watch. I had it for 2 years, never watched it.
But it's Emilio Estevez plays like the Mel Gibson role.
Yeah, and Samuel L. Jackson, right?
He plays the Murtaugh role, and then it's John Lovitz plays the Joe Pesci bit, like, because he says to him, he's like, we've been laundering money, and then like they cut to like the fucking dryer and the thing, and it's just all this money being washed and dried. Or he said, I can't remember. He's like, I didn't do anything, and he's like, oh yeah, and he opens up and it's the dryer and it's like, or the washing machine, and it's doing the laundry. He's like, all right, I did a little money laundering for him, right? It's such a stupid movie, but it's stupid funny.
Yeah.
And of course you get, I mean, whoever thought of putting Emilio Estevez and Samuel L. Jackson together? Brilliant. I mean, brilliant, because up till that point, I don't think Emilio was doing a lot of comedy.
He did Stakeout at that point, right?
Yeah, but that was more like, I would say like that's more like buddy comedy, but not goofy comedy.
Okay.
It's kind of like 48 Hours, you had, with that movie, you had, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte, but that was more like a buddy comedy. These are more like just goofy, trying to be ridiculous, like over the top ridiculous type movies. It's just like how Hot Shots was. And I think that may have gotten Emilio into it. He's like, oh, my brother did this movie. Yeah. I want to do a goofy spin-off of a movie.
Hot Shots Part 2 is my favorite. And the first one's all right. But based on Rambo is funnier. Especially, they're going to the jungle trying to get to the helicopter, and they come across like a little wooden gate. They're like, damn, it's locked from the inside. And they flick the like little lever. Like, what are we going to do now? And they dynamite it.
It's good, and I think that's why this movie had high expectations, because they titled it Loaded Weapon 1. So I think they were hoping to do a sequel, and I don't believe they ever did. And if they did, I didn't see it.
Straight to DVD, probably.
Yeah, but yeah, it'd be one of those. So yeah, after Loaded Weapon 1, again, if you haven't seen that one, stupid funny. Oh, there is the other line in there. God, what was it? Someone's asking him. Oh, they have have the police draw out the body on the floor, like with the dead body, and he's like, that's so and so. It was I think it was his partner, and that's what got him into it. It was Samuel L. Jackson's ex partner, and she was investigating something, and investigated with the wrong people, and got herself clipped. And he's like, yeah, it was my partner. And he's like, is that her? He's like, no, that's a tracing of her. It's just nothing but a body outline.
Yeah.
No, that's a trace. It's that kind of stupid.
Oh, this is like shit comedy. Like,
yeah.
How much cargo space does it have? Car don't go space. Car go road.
Think of Airplane.
Yeah.
Airplane, Hot Shots.
Okay.
That's what Loaded Weapon is. Very funny.
Now I want to go home and watch Airplane.
So, fast forward. So we have Senior Trip. There was a movie called Golf Punks. I didn't watch that, although now I kind of think I have to, because I didn't realize they made a movie about golf. And this may have been one of those one-offs that isn't officially a National Lampoon's. But then come to one that I'm sure everybody knows.
Van Wilder?
That's the one.
Yes. So that was the second National Lampoon's I saw.
Okay.
Ever. And I was like, this guy is really funny. I really hope he gets a career. It's Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
For everybody who's wondering.
Who never saw Van Wilder.
Yeah.
Since 2002. Yeah,
like
so
that?
it's been 21 years.
Yeah. I never saw the sequel, The Rise of Taj.
I did. It's got its funny moments. Not nearly as good, but there is a scene in it where the girl's speaking. There's one girl that speaks Cockney.
Like British Cockney?
Yeah.
Oi, governor.
Yeah, like very, you're trying to make out certain words and you can't.
You gotta put on subtitles?
Yeah. But there's a girl that's doing that, so she's kind of funny. Yeah, it's got its funny moments, but it's not.
It's not the first one. The first one is fantastic, and it even has Tara Reid as a love interest, who is dating a guy in a
first
fraternity.
one he's talking
in the
about,
first one, yeah. Who's dating a guy who's the president of the fraternity, who's going to be a lawyer and all that stuff, and he's constantly cheating on her, and she's like, "I love you." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever. You're all right." And then Van Wilder is just Van Wilder. He just hosts parties and gets people drunk and laid, and he has a good time. He actually, part of the premise is to keep his school tuition. He starts a company where he just throws amazing parties. And then the boyfriend of Tara Reid sets him up by getting a bunch of children drunk. And the way they show this is did you get let in a bunch of children? And the guy at the door, one of his friends, is like, no, of course not. Why would I do that? And then the school bus just drives by and it all just vomits out. All the children just throw up. And Kal Penn, I think that was the first time I've ever seen him in a movie.
Yeah, I don't think Harold and Kumar had come out at that point.
No,
it came out
relatively
shortly after.
soon.
Yeah, shortly after. Maybe 2005, 2006, something.
Somewhere around there. But yeah, Van Wilder's a great movie.
It is.
For National Lampoons, there's a surprising lack of boobs.
Yeah.
A lot of alcohol, though.
And I think with that one, what they were thinking of when they did the second one is they saw, Raj, right? That's his name. I think they saw how funny he was. Now, he is very funny. Kal Penn is very funny. But I think they said, hey, we want to do a second one. Ryan Reynolds was already moving on to do other things.
Yeah.
And then they probably said, well, a lot of people liked him too. Maybe if we can make him the star, because it's kind of what happens in a lot of movies like Tremors and stuff, where the guy who's the second or third lead becomes the lead. And when the movies become irrelevant at that point.
Yeah. Kevin Bacon left after the first one, which I think he should have stuck around for the second one. But the partner in the first movie, I can't remember his name, but he stayed around for the second one.
Yeah.
And then he left. And then it was the guy named Bert who stuck around for the 9 other movies.
Yeah, the direct-to-DVD, all ones.
Which, by the way, they start including Jamie Kennedy into those things.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
Just when you thought it couldn't get worse.
Jamie Kennedy.
He's like, I'll take over anything. I took over The Mask. Sucked.
Yep.
Took over this. Sucked. So tell me, Jamie, what have you done that hasn't sucked?
Hey, what was that movie he was in that everyone...
Don't say the fucking Malibu one.
Yeah, Malibu Most Wanted.
Ugh.
I love that movie. Well, I just like it when he's talking to like the actual like gangster guy, and he's like, "What system you got?" He's like, "I got the Gamecast." There's a Dreamcast and a GameCube. He's like, "Man, I said I got the Gamecast."
Now here's one, and I do not know if this officially came out under, like, if National Lampoon really created it, or if it was one of those ones where people bought it.
Is it Drunk, Stoned, and Brilliantly Dead?
No, you are not going to know this one at all. I guarantee you that, because it actually started out as a game, a computer game.
Well, then you're putting the odds back into my favor at this one.
Not this game.
Okay.
Well, actually, this might be in your wheelhouse.
Leisure Shoot Larry.
No,
Oh.
but very close. So it was a kind of a little bit. So there's this game called Jake's Booty Call.
Don't know it. Yep. I think it's a little bit before my time. I don't know.
Really funny game. So the whole point is, and there's different episodes, but the one, if anybody ever plays the game, it's an older computer game.
Nowadays, you can probably download it to your phone.
Yeah, you probably just do that. But the whole point, obviously, is to get him laid. But there's one episode entitled The Hat Trick. For those people who I'm going to be perverse with now, is hat
Menage
trick.
a trois.
Hat trick is when you have to have
Three.
sex with 3 women in the same day.
Ah.
Not all together. I mean, if you could do it all together, congrats. But so the game is like you can lose. Like there's different paths, and if you do not choose the exact right path, you will not win the game. Going forward, they made all these other. That was just a funny episode of it, but they had multiple episodes of all these different scenarios. You had to get Jake laid. It is very cartoony graphic because it's a cartoon game. And so National Lampoon made a movie about this. They actually made the full-on cartoon movie called National Lampoon Presents Jake's Booty Call. And it is freaking funny. It's just like whoever liked the game, my buddy Rob, I'm going to give him a shout-out. You know Rob,
Yeah.
Plex Rob. And so Rob's been on with us before, but me and him, in like high school, and actually I think it came out after high school, I somehow came across it, or one of us came across it and showed the other one, and we just would laugh and play the game, and then we'd show all of our other friends, and we're in our early 20s, so we thought it was hilarious. And you're in your early 20s, you're trying to go out and get laid anyway all the time. That's your main goal. So this just added to the benefit. They're like, oh, maybe I'll learn some cool tricks from a cartoon game. That's being in your 20s. That's what we call being in your 20s. Stupid. But it was still, it was a good laugh. But then they came out with a movie Rob told me about. He's like, hey, man, they made a movie. We're got to see this thing. And I'm like, yes, we do. So for those of you who've never seen it, again, it's cartoons, but it is graphic cartoon. I wouldn't go so much to say it's like the level of hentai crazy, but...
Just to jump in here at the end. So I did a little digging because just looking at this, I was like, this is a Flash game. This is
I believe it might have been.
Yeah, so this wasn't like something you bought the disc, installed, and everything.
Yeah.
You opened your web browser, Flash media player came up, and you played it. And looking at this, I was like, this has got to be a game from, I'm going to age myself, newgrounds.com. They had a bunch of like little dirty games that you could play on. Like if you were in high school or middle school, this is the web page you went to just to have some dirty fun. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, it was a Flash game, and it was animated and hosted by a website called romp.com.
Oh yeah, romp.com. Yeah, that's what it was. The romp, they would call it. Yeah. And they have other games on there too.
Yeah, so this is, it sounds exactly like what newgrounds.com used to be.
Okay.
So anybody who is around my age and remembers Newgrounds, you could probably go to, I'm going to see if the link still works. Nope, it just brought me to another Wikipedia page. I don't believe the website is still up and running.
And if you decide you'd like to see the movie, I do have it on DVD.
I'm not surprised. So it was romp.com, fun fact, was founded in April of 2000.
Okay.
Went defunct in 2005.
Okay.
Not like the longest lasting website in the world.
No.
So if you wanted to play Booty Call or whatever, it's got to be out there on the internet. Google has something called the Internet Archive. You may be able to pull it up.
Send us an email request because I do have all the files on a disc saved as well. On a
dirty pervert.
Yep. No, Rob gave it all to me. All right, I'm blaming Rob on this one. Rob, you filthy son of a bitch, motorboating son of a bitch.
You piece of shit. Give me those discs.
I think he was able to get them like all on one.
Oh,
just like one DVD.
Oh yeah, because
I mean,
more than like 50 megabytes.
Yeah, there's a bunch of episodes, but I don't. And again, I mean, I can get it to you, but unless you have a DVD drive to download. I mean, no, I don't know of anybody except for me who still has a home computer with a DVD drive on.
Yeah, my laptop doesn't have one.
No?
Like, it would have been an extra like $300 to have one installed into the laptop when I was buying it. I was like, no one uses those things anymore. Now I'm upset I don't have it.
So
and
actually,
plus, a newer computer nowadays probably wouldn't be able to run like that old ass equipment.
yeah.
You would have to download it. There is a piece of software out there that will like choke the crap out of your CPU, so the game thinks it's a lot not as good as it really is.
Well, what I can do, send an email anyway, because I still have DVD drives on my computer because I used to.
Well, you could just rip them off the DVD.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I could pop it in there. So send me an email. I'll get it to you somehow, some way.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
we're
so,
somewhat smart.
And
with
then
our powers combined.
That way we know people are actually listening, because then we're getting emails. Hey, what about that booty call?
Yeah, I'll read that email out too.
Please don't write it that way. Hey, what about that booty call, guys?
Put the subject line, you up.
Yeah. Requesting video game that we talked about on episode 119.
Do it my way.
Yeah. So anyway, that was I forgot all about that they made that movie.
I think a lot of people. I think National Lampoons forgot that they made that movie.
They might have. They might have. And again, it might not have actually been an official Lampoon. They may have paid for the right to use the title just one time. But yeah, so there's a bunch of other ones that a lot of them went direct to DVD, like Barely Legal, Going the Distance. I don't even know some of these. Cattle Call. We got The Rise of Taj. This one sounds fun. National Lampoon's presents The Beach Party at the Threshold of Hell.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, this seems like a little divergent from their normal stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely am interested.
Well, so one that I've told you about a couple times, because we discussed the actor and we've talked about him actually recently too, in the Harold, when we talked about Harold and Kumar a couple weeks back or whenever we did. So
Neil Patrick Harris.
It's actually the movie is called National Lampoon's Dirty Movie.
Yeah, it's right here. I never saw it, and I was like, that's just marketing to get me into the. I don't even think this went into the theaters.
But that's actually, the whole movie is nothing but old school jokes that are played out on screen, and Christopher Molina is the main character in it.
Oh.
And you would not reckon. So for those of you who don't know Christopher Molina, he was
Elliot Stabler.
Elliot Stabler. He was in Oz. He was one of the main.
There was a show
guys
on ABC called Happy. He was the main star on that one with co-starring Patton Oswalt.
He was the creepy looking dude in Harold and Kumar, the truck driver with the
tow truck driver
and stuff.
Yeah, that was married to the stupid Han wife.
Yeah,
who was then going to have a foursome with Harold and Kumar.
So he's been in a lot. So those of you who do know Christopher Molina, watch this movie. It took me forever to realize that was him, because he changed his voice a little bit, like added almost like kind of like a lisp kind of sound to him, but he was wearing these big thick ass, almost looked like 70s or 80s style aviator type glasses, like the real wide ones, but they weren't. It was like a sleazy producer would wear from the 70s.
Okay.
And so
I'm thinking of like an alcoholic Tom Cruise from Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so you wouldn't recognize him, and he had his hairdo was all funky, but the whole movie is nothing but jokes, and that's what the whole premise of the movie is. He's a producer, and he wants to produce a movie about jokes, and he's like, just punchline, set up punchline. So each little skit, the whole movie's tied together, but each scene is a joke that's being played out. And it's like, I think even Cyndi Lauper does a cameo. And there's a great one where she's in it.
I swear to God, if you get that song time after time stuck in my head.
I'm not going to do that. She sits there.
I mean, I'll enjoy it for about 10 minutes, and then I'll kill myself.
Do you have it pulled up?
No. Well, yes.
Can you see if she's in it? If Cyndi Lauper is the person I'm thinking of that was in it? Or someone that looked like Cyndi Lauper?
No, she's in it. She's credited as Little Johnny's something.
Yeah, so Little Johnny, the whole skit with her, it's like a quick 2-minute thing. Little Johnny calls the mom into his room, and she's like, Mom, she's like, it's time for bed. And he's like, Mom, where do babies come from? And she's like, the stork brings them. The kid sits there for a second, looks, and he's like, so who fucks the stork? And it's a little kid that says it. It's hilarious. So that's basically what the whole movie is like. I mean, it's just nothing but just romp jokes, dirty jokes. Some are stupid, some are funny. But yeah, it's very good. It's funny as hell. And of course, it has your multiple gratuitous shots of nudity and stuff in there. So for you crazy guys out there who like just sitting around watching,
for the record, while we are recommending you watch this just for the pure boobs and comedy, it does have a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is not like the masterpiece of cinema.
No, but it's well, Rotten Tomatoes does know how to judge this one.
It also has 3.1 out of 10 on IMDb.
Well, of course it does, because it's not meant to be like an Oscar-nominated film.
Well, that's fair. But still, don't go in there expecting greatness.
Yeah.
Although, I think I've said this before, but quick shout out to Christopher Molina. He did his time as a serious actor in Law & Order, SVU, and Oz, and now he's just doing the dumbest shit possible.
Yes.
And having the best... He's living his best life right now.
But he got the money to do it.
And I'm here for it. You know what? Bring Happy back. I want season 3. That show was fucking amazing.
But yeah, once I got into later, though, like a lot of these I'm not really recognizing. I think a lot of them, like we said,
I think Dirty
direct-to-video.
Movie was like the last one that I do remember.
Yeah, that's... So, well, like a comparison. If you like Movie 43, it's similar to that.
Oh.
It is kind of like that.
It's
just not they're scouring the internet for these things.
Yeah, it's not like a compilation movie where it's like... You know how like in Movie 43, it was this one scenario for 15 minutes, then you moved on to a complete... Nothing was interconnected. Dirty Movie is... There is an actual overarching plot line.
There is a connection. Yeah, they're trying to make a movie about jokes. But each side scene that happens is the joke being played out.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of these coming through here, it's just, you know, they...
I mean, National Lampoon presents RoboDuck. I kind of want to see that one.
I want to see...
It stars Corin Nemec.
Really?
Yeah.
We got to talk to him about that
When did this come out? 2008. So this was after Stargate.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
because you got something to talk to him about then.
Hey, you want to tell me about your straight-to-DVD movie, National Lampoon's RoboDuck? I'll guarantee you this was not released in theaters. Although it has better ratings than Dirty Movie.
Yeah. Oh, damn it.
By 1%, and I shit you not. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 27%, and it's 4.1 on IMDb.
Well, here's one. It's National Lampoon's 301, The Legend of Awesome Mist Maximus.
So clearly the original people who started National Lampoons have left the company at this point.
A lot of them are dead.
Yeah.
I mean, because you got to remember, and a lot of the people that started in the original National Lampoon, I mean, with the exception of Chevy Chase. I mean, John Belushi's dead, Gilda Radner's dead, Harold Ramis is dead, Doug Kenny started it as dead. I mean, there's almost nobody left from the original cast.
Except for Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase is there. He's standing. And I don't know if Dan Aykroyd was involved with them that much, but yeah, I think most of them are either old to the point to where they're just not doing it, but the list that I just named you, all gone.
Okay. So wild theory, what if Chevy Chase killed them all off? So he could be the sole surviving National Lampoons and he owns all the rights.
He might have killed Doug Kenny because there's always been a mystery about that, and that's what the movie that it's about, the Stupid and Futile Gesture movie.
Which, by the way, stars Will Forte.
Yeah, so he plays Doug Kenny.
Okay.
And, but he's going through it, but anyway, he goes into this rehab, and it's at this, rehab resort is where he dies, but Chevy Chase visits him.
Real quick, Chevy Chase in this movie is played by Joe McHale.
Yeah.
The guy from Community. Why they couldn't get Chevy Chase? Because Joe McHale...
they needed a young version because it's based on when they were doing it in the 70s, so...
When did this movie come out? 2018. This was way after Community then.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Joe McHale and Chevy Chase were working together at some point for like years. Although I heard...
might have been. He might have collaborated with him. He might have gotten the role for that and said, hey, I need to play
Chevy Chase on that show was...
He might, for the show, but I'm saying he might have gotten this part to play Chevy Chase's role. And
because he's been working with him for so long.
He might have, or he might have just, maybe asked him, hey, let me, I'm going to work on this movie. So you never know.
Yeah, possibly.
But yeah, so Chevy Chase, though, in the movie, he visits him in the rehab to bring him cocaine in the rehab center because basically he's saying he wants to go there to get bed, but he doesn't want to. And I think Chevy Chase was the last person to hang out with him there before he actually died. So there could be a theory out there that...
All right, now I'm going to scour the internet for, once again, going to show my age, a creepypasta and see if Chevy Chase killed that guy.
No, I'm not saying he did. I'm saying that he was the last person around, but you made a joke that what if he killed everybody? I mean you never
if
know.
He's the last one alive, then he's been with him since pretty much the beginning.
Yeah.
The only movie he's not in is Animal House, and then it's all Chevy Chase. Until it gets to like Van Wilder.
Yeah, the vacation movies and stuff.
But it almost seems like National Lampoon's started out like Trauma Team, and then just got bigger budgets.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I said, it's very similar to The Onion.
Mm.
Very similar to what's that other publication that came out? But a lot of these things
Wall
started
Street
out
Journal.
just well, no, not the Wall Street Journal, but I'm saying like these humorous things, like Mad TV or Mad Magazine became Mad TV, and
Will Sasso from Mad TV is in one of their movies. The Legend of
Awesomeness Maximus.
I just recognized his photo. Because I think he was one of the funniest people on that show.
Well, so all the ones I listed here were like, I didn't list all of them, but now there's ones for made for television. So
the boring ones.
this one was, I believe, right around Animal House, or one of the first ones. The original company did Disco Beaver from Outer Space.
Disco Beaver from Outer Space.
Made for television.
So since it's made for television, there is no drugs, there are no alcohol, there definitely aren't any boobs.
This one's very specific. National Lampoon's Attack of the 5'2" Woman.
Yep. So is that one made for Julia Brown stars in two media satires as a figure skater, Tanya Hardy, and angry wife Lenora Babbitt. Lorena Bobbitt.
But I like that, the 5'2" woman. That's insanely specific.
Were both Tanya Hardy and Lorena Bobbitt 5'2"?
They might have been. I know one of them was shorter.
Okay.
I don't know their exact heights. I never met them.
Yeah.
I knew about the whole incident that happened between the two of them, but I never really.
Lorena
cared.
Bobbitt's a different person.
Oh, Lorena, yeah, she cut off, but the Tanya Harding thing, that was the ice skating.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I heard about it, but I never really cared. Like, to me, it was like,
I mean, there's an award-winning movie out there. I just haven't been bothered to watch it. Not gonna lie, I haven't watched. Shocker, Patrick Wall hasn't seen a movie.
No. So now we also have favorite deadly sins, Dad's Week Off, The Don's Analyst, Men in White.
Real quick, going back to your favorite deadly sin. What is your favorite deadly sin? There are 7 of them. What's one, like, if you were going to the...
Envy.
So you went to go get judged by who's that really? Michael? Peter? Peter. He would say your greatest sin would be envy.
You said my favorite.
Oh, true. So your favorite, you like to be envious?
No. I'm saying it's just my favorite sin to watch other people be.
Oh, okay.
You didn't say how specific you were on this question. You said,
I'm realizing this now, halfway through the conversation.
What's your favorite deadly sin? My envy. I mean, because it's fun to watch people who basically almost kill themselves or destroy themselves being so envious of other people.
Mm.
So it's like, it's a very powerful sin.
Yeah.
I mean, you got gluttony, you got lust. I mean, those are like,
Yeah.
a lot of people have those things. I mean,
I like sloth. Like, personally, just sitting on my couch for 8 hours playing video games just makes me happy.
so your favorite deadly sin to act upon
is
sloth. Okay.
Yes.
Then mine would be lust.
I mean, I get that. that is a close second for me. I'm not gonna lie.
And watch other people envy me.
There you go.
All right, you got to be very specific about your questioning next time.
I'm going to refine. I'm going to narrow down the scope of my questions next time.
So then we have a couple of, because I know we got a little bit of time left, but we're just going to run through some more of these made-for-television movies. Thanksgiving Family Reunion, and then, of course, the one we talked about earlier, the second National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure.
Oh, that was made for TV?
Yeah.
Yeah. Suck it, Randy Quaid.
This one's National Lampoon's Live, Down and Dirty. No idea what that means.
What about this movie called Super Party?
Where's that one at?
I don't know.
Is that a made-for-TV too?
I don't know. I'm asking. See, my list doesn't differentiate between made for TV or straight for DVD.
Oh. Super Party, you said?
Yeah. Oh, no. So, this is super
Surf
weird.
Party or Super Party?
So, it's actually called Endless Bummer, but the poster is Surf Party.
Surf Party, okay. I was like, I saw a Surf Party on here, but I didn't see...
I'm not wearing my glasses, sue me.
Let's see, video releases. Lemmings,
This is a good video game.
OC and Stigs, National Lampoon's Class of 86,
Year after I was born, I was not a part of that.
Lost Reality, The Girls of National Lampoon Strip Poker.
I wonder what that movie's about.
National Lampoon's presents Lost Reality 2, More of the Worst.
Oh, I kind of want to watch that.
Here's one you'd like, National Lampoon's Boobies. That's the name of the movie.
You know what? It's succinct. That's what it is. And something tells me that movie doesn't not fulfill its promise on the title.
They seem to have a thing too with like golf, because I said the first one earlier, but you had the golf one, but now there's one called Teed Off, Teed Off Behind the Tees, and Teed Off 2. So they have like a real thing, and it's teed as in using a tee for golf. So I'm assuming it's all golf based.
There's one called Transylvania.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's just about a bunch of college kids who go a semester abroad, but they go to Transylvania and they stay at a castle, and apparently it's infested by vampires. And looking at the posters, shocker, it's National Lampoon's Giant-Chested Women.
Nice. Here's one in 2008, RoboDuck dissected the making of RoboDuck. So they actually made a documentary about making
So how
RoboDuck.
good is that movie? Must be pretty good.
Let's see here. Dracula's Daughters versus the Space Brains. This one's funny. In 2010, Sex Tax, based on a true story.
What?
No idea. Doesn't even say National Lampoons at the beginning, so they probably didn't even want to have anything to do with it. Night of the Little Dead, another dirty movie. Oh, they made a second one?
Yeah.
Nice.
Right up your alley.
Oh, man, so that's fun. But we got about 8 minutes left in here before we have to sign off and say goodbye. So, just wanted to kind of run through, just give you guys, like I said, we wanted to talk a little bit, about National Lampoons, kind of give you a little bit of history. It's a very unique story in terms of these guys that didn't really have much direction at the time, or one of them did, but he was going to go to like law school or something in red school. I think that was Henry Baird, the partner. But he was more the level-headed one, more the business type guy, but he would, still write stuff with him. But Doug Kinney was just a guy who was never just convicted to anything. Like, he was married a couple different times, I think cheated on his wives. So he wasn't good on just sticking to a commitment. I mean, he did stick to the Lampoon because he was basically able to do whatever he wanted. It was, again, a drug-infused, alcohol-infused career for him. So
real quick, in the movie Transylvania I was talking about, it starred a woman named Jennifer Lyons.
Yeah.
She looked familiar, and
I have a name for some reason.
Yeah, I know, right? Me too. And I'm looking at her filmography, and she's been in a couple of shows I've seen, but once again, one-off characters. Plays a stripper more than once. Okay. She's in 3 different National Lampoon's movies. Dorm Days 2, and Transylvania.
I haven't seen any of them.
But what's really interesting is she's also in a movie that I called Jack Frost 2, The Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. I've seen the first one. I love the first one. Now that I know there's a second one, I know what movie I'm watching for the holidays. And we'll talk about this later. Once again, we're coming up to a Christmas episode, but real quick, there's a movie called Jack Frost. There are 2 movies called Jack Frost out there. One stars Michael Keaton. It's a very sad movie about how he dies, but he inhabits a snowman so he can continue to spend time with his son. It's mushy. It's Michael Keaton. It's probably really well done, but it's boring. There's another one where a serial killer inhabits a snowman and then just starts killing people in a town. One, he turns into water, he gets into the bathtub, and then he just solidifies around the girl and hugs her to death and then bashes her head against the bathroom wall. There's another one where he takes his carrot out and shoves it in someone's eye socket. We're talking low quality B movie
stuff, man.
Yeah,
solid stuff.
This barely counts as a B movie. This is almost C tier, but it is amazing. Okay. And now that I know there's a sequel,
now you got something to watch.
Now there's something to put my detective skills, find out where to watch that movie.
Since we do have a minute or two, so this is also for you, Patrick. So this was the original the original Radio Hour National Lampoon's group. Since we talked about who's left.
Yeah.
So John Belushi, Chevy Chase, Richard Belzer. Belzer.
He was on SVU too.
Yeah.
He was actually he was a comedian for the longest time.
Christopher Guest, Bill Murray.
It's on Tubi. I know what I'm watching later.
It's on Tubi?
Yep.
So you have Christopher Guest, Bill Murray, Gilda Radner, Brian Doyle Murray. He was the older one. He plays in a lot of... he usually plays some grumpy guy. He was the boss in Christmas Vacation.
Oh, okay.
That's the older Murray. Harold Ramis, Joe Flaherty, Joe Firestone, Brett Davis, Alex English, Mauve Higgins. They got some in red here. I don't know why. But yeah, there's
no, that means nobody's added info to Wikipedia for
about
the
them.
field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cola Skull, that one I don't know. Megan Stoller. So some of these people were like on the side or writers, but the main ones that I listed were like the actual ones that would be on the radio doing the skits and stuff.
Gotcha.
So Bill Murray's still alive.
Yeah.
And Brian Doyle Murray, as far as I know, is still alive. Joe Flaherty, I think, is still alive because he did. Well, he may not be. Joe Flaherty, you know who that is, right?
I'm looking him up right now.
Well, you loved the show he was in.
Okay.
That was started by. Help me out here. We talked about it, Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, the Apatow.
Judd Apatow.
Yes.
So Freaks and Geeks, he was the dad.
Okay.
He was their father. That's Joe Flaherty. So yeah, just
he was also the guy in Happy Gilmore who went jackass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a big popular guy in the 70s and 80s, and I think he was even partnered with on SCTV for a while with the Canadian group.
He is still alive. He's not literally dead.
All right, so some people are still kicking. So Chevy Chase didn't kill everyone.
Yeah, but the last time he acted was in 2014, and before that was 2012.
Okay.
But to be fair, in 2012 he did a movie called Call Me Fitz, and the poster for it is just some girl in a garter belt with somebody holding the word certified over her ass cheeks.
All right. All right, so we are about out of time here, but before we go, again, guys, stick around with us for the upcoming weeks. We'll always bring up the holidays. In a couple more weeks, we will be releasing our Christmas episode, so we will be doing some work on that.
Genuinely excited for that.
I know who you are. But stick around. But as always, remember, check us out on all of our social media.
Yes. Once again, you can find us on any podcasting hosting sites. We're on Spotify as our main one, but if you're looking at our dumbass faces, we're also on YouTube. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, WWJDF Radio?
WDBF Radio.
DBF Radio.
WDBFradio.com or WDBF Radio or WDBF.FM. You can find us there.
Every Sunday at 11 to 12.
Yep.
And then iHeartRadio. Our website has the latest 5 episodes, I believe.
Yep. Even Amazon Music you can find us on.
There you go. We're now...
And you don't have to pay.
We're coming for you, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
We're now on music.
But you can always check updates on our IMDb
to be fair, if we
page.
get 1/100th of her amount of listens, I'll be happy.
Yeah. But also you can check out the website too, movietalksandchill.com. When we always ask you guys to email us if you have any thoughts, questions, or interactions, that's talk to us at movietalksandchill.com as well, so you can reach us there. But yeah, check everything out. Check the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. But just keep it up. Let us know if we missed anything as usual.
Real quick, Spotify has just launched the Wrapped for 2023. If we are on your list, please tag us on social media. We'd love to see all of our listeners that love what we do.
Absolutely, and we'll be sending out a post as well of that to let everybody kind of see where.
Yes,
what
I've
our year
already
looked
gone
like.
through it and grabbed a couple of things. So yeah, I'll be making that post before Christmas. Let's say that.
It'll be your Christmas gift.
Yeah. Let's just say between the show and actual jobs this time of year is nuts.
But until then, guys, enjoy your holiday time. This is the time before Christmas to go out, get your presents, make your cookies, go see Christmas lights, enjoy the festivities.
Put that Amazon Prime to use.
Yes, and listen to us every Wednesday or Sunday. But until then, for Movie Talks and Chill, we're your hosts. I'm Tony Serrato.
I'm Patrick Wall.
All right,
I almost
guys.
said Gavin Butts again.
And Gavin Butts will be back with us next week.
You better be.
All right, guys, take care.
I know where you live, Gavin.